In the heart of the medieval world, where the clash of religions and the lure of the holy beckoned, a brotherhood was born. The Knights Templar, their legacy etched in history, were a formidable force that fused martial prowess with monastic devotion. In the early 12th century, 7 knights, led by the nobleman Hugh of Paynes, forged a solemn pledge. They vowed to protect Christian pilgrims in the perilous lands of Jerusalem and the Holy Land, creating a brotherhood bound by monastic vows of poverty, chivalry, and a steadfast code of conduct. Their base of operations, gifted by King Baldwin II in 1120, was the former Aqsa Mosque on Jerusalem's Temple Mount. This sacred place became their headquarters, and they were soon recognized as the Order of the Knights of the Temple of Solomon, or simply, the Templars. The Templars received papal recognition in 1129, marking the birth of a unique military order, the first of its kind. They stood alongside the Cistercians and were even allowed to wear their white hooded mantle, a symbol of their devotion to God. Adorning a red cross on a white background, their insignia became a beacon of Christian faith. As fervent defenders of Christendom, the Templars participated in major battles. In 1147, during the Second Crusade, they faced off against Muslim forces, cementing their role in the Crusades' tumultuous theatre. But their strength lay not only in their martial prowess but also in the generosity of supporters who recognized their vital mission. Donations poured in, ranging from money and land to horses, military equipment, and provisions. Privileges and investments further bolstered their coffers, enabling them to purchase revenue-generating assets like farms, vineyards, and mills. Victorious campaigns brought both riches and new lands. Tribute flowed from conquered cities, territories governed by Templar castles, and weaker neighboring states in the Levant. Their success allowed the Templars to establish subsidiary centers across Western Europe, enriching their coffers and attracting fresh recruits. Yet, with great wealth came great expenses. Maintaining knights, horses, and arms was costly, as were taxes, donations to the papacy, and church tithes. Supporting charitable endeavors and assisting the poor further strained their resources. Devastating military losses took a toll on men and property, revealing that their riches might not have been as inexhaustible as believed. In the mid-12th century, the Templars extended their influence into the Iberian Peninsula, joining the Reconquest campaigns. They also played a vital role in the Baltic Crusades. By the 13th century, the Templars had expanded their reach from England to Bohemia, amassing a considerable naval fleet. Their model of a military religious order became a blueprint for others like the Knights Hospitaller and Teutonic Knights. Yet, the Templars excelled in one area like no other: banking. Their vast network of assets and infrastructure evolved into a financial juggernaut. The Templars, guardians of faith and wealth, had etched their indelible mark on history. However, as with many stories of immense power and wealth, their fate took a dark turn. Accused of heresy, corruption, and forbidden practices, the Templars faced the wrath of King Philip IV of France in 1307. This infamous event led to their official disbandment by Pope Clement V in 1312. The once mighty Knights Templar, who had stood at the crossroads of faith and battle, faded into the annals of history, leaving behind a legacy as enigmatic as it was powerful. In the turbulent medieval world, where danger lurked at every corner, a unique group emerged as protectors of both faith and riches. These were the Knights Templar, renowned not only for their martial prowess but also for their pioneering role in the world of banking. Within their fortresses, known as convents, the Templars evolved into trusted repositories for wealth, safeguarding cash, jewels, and vital documents. As early as 1130, they put their considerable cash reserves to work by offering interest-bearing loans. But their financial services didn't stop there. The Templars introduced a revolutionary banking concept, a system where individuals could deposit money in one convent and, armed with a suitable letter of authorization, withdraw the equivalent sum from a different one. They also offered a precursor to modern-day current accounts, allowing people to make regular deposits and have the Templars disperse fixed sums to nominated recipients. By the 13th century, their financial acumen had made them indispensable. Kings, nobles, and even rulers embarking on crusades would entrust significant sums to the Templars, which could later be accessed in the Levant. In fact, the Templars became such adept and trusted bankers that even the kings of France placed their treasuries under their watchful eye. their financial reach extended even further. The Templars provided loans to rulers, solidifying their role in the complex financial web of late medieval Europe. Their influence and wealth became the envy of many. The Templars' influence transcended borders, with recruits hailing from across Western Europe. France, in particular, provided a substantial number of knights. Motivations varied, ranging from religious duty and penance for sins to a thirst for adventure, personal gain, and even a steady income. To join, one had to be a free man of legitimate birth. By the 13th century, aspiring knights needed knightly lineage. Marital status was not an insurmountable barrier, provided the spouse consented. Upon joining, recruits often made a significant donation, ensuring their financial standing met the order's standards. The Templars' ranks comprised two main groups, knights and sergeants. Knights were the minority, sometimes numbering only a few hundred, even during intense warfare. Sergeants included non-military personnel and laymen, constituting the majority. The Grand Master led the order, overseeing a hierarchical structure. Convents, akin to local chapters, were grouped into geographical regions known as priories. These convents often operated from castles or controlled land owned by the order. A network of preceptors or commanders managed individual convents, reporting to the head of their respective priory. Communication was vital, facilitated by letters and documents sealed with the order's emblem, usually two knights on a single horse. Convents typically sent 1/3 of their revenue to the order's headquarters. The Grand Master resided initially in Jerusalem, later in Acre, and then Cyprus after 1291. High-ranking officials, including the Grand Commander and Marshal, assisted him, overseeing various supplies such as clothing. The Templar Order held occasional meetings, known as chapters, at both the headquarters and provincial levels. However, local convents enjoyed considerable autonomy, with sanctions reserved for only the most egregious misconduct. In their dual roles as guardians of faith and wealth, the Knights Templar achieved a unique place in history, their legacy as enigmatic as it was powerful. In the hallowed halls of the Templar Order, knights took vows akin to those of monastic life, but with some notable distinctions. Unlike monks, Templar knights were not bound to the confines of their communal dwellings. Their sacred oaths included unwavering obedience to the Grand Master, mandatory attendance at church services, celibacy, and communal dining, where meat made a rare appearance every odd day. These knights forsook worldly pleasures, shunning activities like hunting, hawking, and donning flashy attire and extravagant arms, indulgences that regular knights reveled in. For instance, belts, often bedecked with decoration, were replaced with a simple wool-cord belt, symbolizing chastity. In the battlefield, Templar knights donned a distinctive white surcoat and cloak over their armor, proudly bearing a red cross on their left breast. This symbol, the Red Cross, adorned the livery of their horses and the order's pennant, setting them apart from their counterparts like the Knights Hospitaller, with their white cross on a black background, and the Teutonic Knights, sporting a black cross on a white background. Templar shields were typically white, featuring a thick black horizontal stripe across the top. The sergeants, another group within the order, wore brown or black mantles. Yet, perhaps the most distinctive feature was their appearance. All Templar knights sported beards and kept their hair short by medieval standards. While Templar knights could possess personal property, unlike members of some other military orders, they adhered to strict regulations when it came to clothing. However, there were some allowances for comfort, such as linen wear during spring and summer. For those who transgressed the order's rules, outlined collectively in the rule, punishments ranged from revoked privileges to flogging and even life imprisonment. In the tumultuous era of the Crusades, the Templars stood as paragons of martial prowess, masters of the lance, sword, and crossbow. Clad in formidable armor, they constituted the best trained and equipped contingent within Crusader armies. Their deployment often secured the flanks, vanguard, and rear of an army on the battlefield. The Templars were revered for their disciplined group cavalry charges. In tight formation, they would charge through enemy lines, creating chaos that allied troops would exploit to advance. Their discipline extended beyond the battlefield, with severe penalties for knights who disobeyed orders. Losing one's sword or horse through carelessness could lead to expulsion from the order. However, their zealousness for honor and glory occasionally made the Templars challenging for Crusade commanders to manage. Nevertheless, their significance in defending critical passes, like Emmanuel's north of Antioch, cannot be overstated. They acquired and maintained lands and castles that the Crusader states couldn't support due to manpower shortages. They also reconstructed or built new castles to enhance the defense of Christian-held territories in the east. The Templars remained faithful to their original mission, safeguarding pilgrims along their routes in the Levant and serving as their protectors, though they experienced triumphs, such as the sieges of Acre in 1189–91, Dumyat in 1218–19, and Constantinople in 1204, the Templars also tasted bitter defeats. Their martial renown came with a grave consequence: captured Templar knights could anticipate execution. The Battle of Hattin in 1187, where Saladin's army emerged victorious, resulted in the beheading of 230 Templar knights, while more prominent members of the order were held for ransom. In the Battle of Mansour in Egypt during the Seventh Crusade, 1248–1254, the Templars suffered another substantial loss in 1250. Yet, their vast network of convents continuously replenished their resources and manpower, ensuring their enduring legacy. In their heyday, the Templars were a formidable force, virtually autonomous and a looming military presence. However, this very power started to unnerve Western rulers. As they expanded their dominion, amassing vast networks of lands and substantial wealth, they found themselves under increasing scrutiny. Critics assailed them, accusing them of corrupt practices and extravagance. Detractors alleged that they lived in luxury, squandering resources that could have been better employed for the Holy War. Some claimed they diverted funds to compete with rival orders, particularly the Hospitallers. There were also concerns that the dual identity of monk and warrior within the Templar order was inherently incompatible. Accusations even surfaced that the Templars were more interested in eradicating Muslims than converting them. Many of these criticisms stemmed from misunderstandings about the inner workings of the Templars, exaggerations regarding their actual wealth, and an atmosphere of jealousy and distrust. As the 13th century waned, the military order's growing independence raised concerns, prompting discussions about amalgamating them into a single entity. This, it was believed, would render them more accountable to the church and individual rulers. Then, around 1307, far graver allegations against the Templars emerged. Rumors circulated that they renounced Christ as God, denied the crucifixion, and blasphemed the cross. Shockingly, it was even suggested that their initiation rituals involved desecrating a crucifix by trampling, spitting, and urinating on it. These damaging claims were propagated, particularly by the French government. Ordinary clergy, too, grew envious of the Templars' privileges, including burial rights, a potentially profitable sideline for local churches. Consequently, the political and religious establishments coalesced with the objective of annihilating the Templars. The loss of the Crusader states in the Levant in 1291 possibly served as a catalyst, although many still harbored hopes of reclaiming them, for which the military orders were deemed essential. The infamous Friday the 13th of October in 1307 marked a turning point when King Philip IV of France ordered the arrest of all Templars in his realm. The motivations behind this remain debated. Historians have suggested factors such as the Templars' military threat, a desire to seize their wealth, an opportunity to gain a political advantage over the papacy, and even Philip's belief in the rumors against the order. These accusations, initially unfounded, soon multiplied. Alongside the denial of Christ and desecration of the cross, charges of promoting homosexual practices, indecent kissing, and idol worship were leveled. Pope Clement V initially defended the Templars, being, after all, their religious superior. However, Philip managed to extract confessions from several Templars, including the Grand Master, James of Molay. As a result, the Pope ordered the arrest of all Templars in Western Europe, and their property was confiscated. The Templars could only hold out in Aragon, where some fortified castles resisted until 1308. A trial followed in Paris in 1310, leading to the burning at the stake of 54 Templar brothers. In 1314, the Grand Master James of Molay and the Preceptor of Normandy, Geoffrey of Charny, met the same fiery fate in Paris. Molay defiantly protested his innocence as he marched to his funeral pyre. The Council of Vienne in 1311 marked the order's final reckoning. Investigations into the order's activities across Europe over the previous 3 years were reviewed. Confessions, likely extracted through torture, varied in nature. Most Templars in France and Italy confessed to all charges, while none did so regarding the gravest accusations from Cyprus or the Iberian Peninsula. A group of knights, called to present their defense, were never summoned, and in the presence of Philip, the Pope officially dissolved the order on April 3, 1312. The primary reason was the irreparable damage to their reputation rather than a verdict of guilt. No physical evidence supporting the accusations, such as records or statues of idols, was ever produced. Furthermore, many knights later recanted their confessions, even when they were already condemned, serving no purpose but to exonerate themselves. Most former Templar knights received pensions but were barred from joining any other military order. Many Templar assets were transferred to the Knights Hospitaller on May 2, 1312, by the Pope's decree. However, significant land and wealth found its way into the hands of nobles, particularly in Castile. Despite the assault on the Templars, it had little impact on other military orders. The notion of amalgamating them into a single entity ultimately fell by the wayside. The Teutonic Knights, criticized more than any other order, survived due to their close ties with secular German rulers. They relocated their headquarters from Vienna to Prussia in 1309, while the Knights Hospitaller wisely established their headquarters in Rhodes. These strategic moves ensured the continued existence of these orders in one form or another down to the present day.